Hi friends, Osahan here, and I'm excited, guys, because we're kicking off a brand new series about the book of James, subtitle Faith Hacks. And so, guys, tonight will be your first night as we dive into James chapter 1, and just a little bit of a look back to kind of what we talked about on Sunday, and really we just kind of set up the whole book, give a great overview of what exactly the book of James talks about. And so for those of you guys who maybe weren't there, just a quick recap. Number one, James is written by the brother of Jesus. Yes, Jesus had brothers and sisters. And so if you look at several places in the Gospels, notably in Matthew, Mark, and Luke, it talks about particular interaction that Jesus had with his mother, with his brothers and sisters, where they were coming to look for him, and really, because they didn't quite believe in him. And so James, we see, is an individual who ends up turning his life around and begins to believe that Jesus truly is the Son of God. And as a matter of fact, James later on becomes a leader in the early church. And that's exactly where he's at as he's writing. This is as a leader in the early church, writing a letter of wisdom and encouragement to the rest of the church that is spread out all across the known world at that time. As the second thing to note about this letter is that this letter is a letter of wisdom. James is influenced in his writing and in his thinking by two major figures. Number one, Jesus, his brother, who is God, hello. And number two, by Solomon, considered by many to be the wisest man to ever live. And so if you read the book of James, as you read through this letter, it's only five short chapters. And I would encourage you all to read through the book as we are going through this series. Read it all, just all 5 chapters. It'll go quick, I promise. But as you read it, what you'll notice is if you read it compared to the book of Proverbs, there's a lot of similarities in terms of style, in terms of some of the content. And so the last thing we talked about is one of the overarching themes within the book is this theme about faith and what does it look like for our faith to be put into action, hence the title Faith Hacks. And really the interesting relationship between faith and wisdom. Now, faith, of course we know, is, like it tells us in Hebrews 11, is the confidence or the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things that we don't see. So faith maybe is a little unseen, but how do we see our faith? Wisdom helps us do that. Wisdom, both in the Hebrew and the Greek, is a reference to this term for skill for living, or skills to live our life. Not skills with a Z, just straight skills, but skills for living our life. And so wisdom is a way and helps us to live out our faith. And as we go through this series over the next few weeks, I want you guys to keep that in mind, is the importance of wisdom, and that wisdom is skill for living this life. And it tells us in James 1:3 that if any of us needs wisdom, to ask God and he'll give it to us in abundance. So friends, as you go into your time now, remember guys, wisdom, it's skill for living.